Welcome in. This is episode 01 of Gasser's Garage. I'm Steve Thornton, owner of Master Gassers, and it is currently 68 degrees in the garage. I don't know if you can see that, but out here in Arizona, that's hoodie weather. Anything below 70 to me starts to feel a little bit chilly. You get so used to it being over 100 degrees every single day. So that heat meter down there in the corner is probably going to turn into a cold meter for the month of January. That is our 1 month of winter that we have out here. Today I want to talk about the All-Star Circuit of Champions. I want to talk about the Honest Abe Roofing POWRi 410 series, and I want to talk about who I think is a good candidate to join those series. We've already had two confirmations with the All-Stars in Darren Nida and Cody Bova, and I want to get into a couple other guys I think would be great candidates or potential possibilities to join the All-Stars. So putting the graphic up on your screen now, kind of going to do rapid fire. Like I said, I want to keep these videos pretty short, and I was already kind of reading off these slides off camera, and I was going into what was going to be a 25-minute breakdown, and I don't want to do that. So, rapid fire here. Cap Henry, Caleb Henry, Brandon Spithaller, Zeth Sabo, Casey Jedrzejek, Creed Kemenal, Zane DeVault. This section here on the left side of the graphic, I'm calling these guys locks. I mean, do I think they're all going to join the series? Probably not. But do I think they're all perfect candidates to do so? Yes. Cap Henry ran the All-Stars before, won 8 races in Ohio, finished in second like 10 times, damn near led the country in wins last year if he didn't finish second so many times. That Jeffrey Ward 33W is definitely a good car, and they definitely have the means to make the All-Star schedule work. Caleb Henry, pretty much the same situation. Great season in Ohio. The running boxer Farm 101, turned some heads at Lawrenceburg against High Limit, won 6 races, bunch of second place finishes. Him and that team, All-Star Circuit of Champions, championship contenders if they make the call to join the series. Brandon Spithaller, teaming up with the Bearish Motorsports number 32 in 2025 for about 30 races. He'll still have his family owned 22 on top of that. Back-to-back Fast Series champions, back-to-back 8-win seasons. The combination of Spithaller in the 22 and the 32, that's a 60-70 race schedule. And I think he could definitely, be a contender to win the championship. He might be loyal to the Fast Series. I don't know. We still don't know what the Fast Series is going to look like. It could be very similar to the All-Stars in terms of payout. I don't think the points fund is going to be the same. I think the All-Stars will probably have it, a little bit higher, but the Fast Series is going to present an opportunity for some of these guys to race for some more money. Zeth Sabo, no-brainer. Rich Farmer, 29, probably had his best 410 season in 2024. Saw Zeth Sabo running up front, hard charging through the field sometimes at Attica, at Fremont, and with Rich Farmer now taking over the All-Stars, his car out there, maybe a conflict of interest, I don't know, but that was already happening at Fremont anyway. So Zeth Sabo, no-brainer. Casey Jedrzejek, Creed Kemenal, very similar, super young drivers, a lot of potential, a lot of talent. Jedrzejek did pick up his first 410 win at the end of the year, won a bunch of 360 races. Creed Kemenal branched out, ran with the Outlaws, ran with High Limit a bunch, kind of got his butt whooped, but I think that's what his intention was, get a bunch of laps, get a bunch of experience, improve his racecraft. And I think he did that. And, when he came back and ran in Ohio for Ohio Speed Week, Creed Kemenal looking very fast. And I've seen him on Facebook. It looks like he's expressing a lot of interest in the All-Stars. I wouldn't be shocked if him and that 15K join. And then Zane DeVault down here in the lane racing 4. Lane racing, they've run the All-Stars before. Zane DeVault won a bunch of races last year, finished behind Spithaller in the Fast Series Championship. And I'm a big fan of Zane DeVault. I think he's a perfect fit for the All-Stars. I think he's a perfect fit to, run a big regional schedule, maybe some of the POWRi races, some fast races, fill in with Outlaws and the High Limit here and there. So Zane DeVault, makes perfect sense. Now, on the right side, I have guys who are usually on a pick and choose, or at least the cars are on a pick and choose. Skylar G, Cy Lynch, Dylan Norris, Chase Dietz. Skylar G, Cy Lynch, they could easily run the outlaw schedule, or the all-star schedule in their current situations. You know, they both run a bunch of races already. And if they did decide to run the all-stars, both of those guys have to be immediate favorites to win the title. Cy Lynch did run like 26 or 27 high limit races last year, and there has been some murmurs out there if Cy Lynch is going to join the high limit series. Does he have the funding to do so? I don't know. I haven't heard anything to indicate that he's going to be running a different schedule. So expect to see Cy Lynch run a bunch of these all-star races, even if he doesn't commit to the series full time. Chase Dietz, Dylan Norris, have them both there, both PA Posse guys. Dylan Norris running with his own team for the first time last year in the Sean Norris Motorsports number 17. He branched out, ran a bunch at the beginning of the year. I think they got into some engine troubles, you know, kind of had to narrow down their schedule. We didn't see Dylan Norris as much, but it sounds like they're ramping things up for 2025, and I think Dylan Norris could be a perfect candidate for the All-Stars. And Chase Dietz in the Stamen Motorsports, number 23. It kind of doesn't make sense for this team to get off the porch. Chase Dietz so good at Port Royal, so good at Lincoln, so good at Williams Grove, and why would this team leave Central Pennsylvania if they got a chance to win every time they show up at any of those tracks? And plus, the money in Central Pennsylvania is just as good as the money on the All-Star Tours, if not better. So I think we see Chase Dietz build a schedule around Central Pennsylvania and then fill it in with some All-Stars, some POWRi stuff. And it's going to be really nice to see Chase Dietz branch out a little bit if that's their plan. Now down at the bottom here, calling these guys wild cards. We don't really know what their plans are going to be. I'm not really going to get into it, but keep an eye on all of these names, all of these cars. You know, I've heard different things that maybe some of these cars might be joining the All-Stars. You know, maybe some of these drivers on this list are joining forces. Added Hunter Schoenberg down there. It was just announced he is in the Vermeer 55 now, but they did not announce intentions to, you know, go back on the high limit tour yet. I wouldn't be surprised if they do end up doing that, but like I said, with a lot of these new regional schedules popping up, the Vermeer Motorsports, they ran with the All-Stars in the past. Hunter Schoenberg can definitely win races on a regional level, and it would not shock me to see them join the All-Stars or the POWRi, or just, you know, run an aggressive pick and choose schedule. So I'm going to transition into the Honest Abe Roofing and get into about 12 guys that I think could potentially join that series. So stay tuned. Okay guys, switching gears to the new POWRi Honest Abe Roofing 410 Outlaw Sprint Series, and this is something that I'm personally very excited about. I think that this region definitely needed something like this to pop up to fill the void that, you know, for some of these guys that could not run the high limit, couldn't run the World Outlaw stuff, you know, kind of limited. They're running locally around Farmington, you know, they're doing some ASCS Elite Outlaw stuff, and then they're running the traditional POWRi series that has been there for the past few years. And the POWRi series, honestly, they were paying well last season. You know, they didn't have this big tow package, and they didn't have a huge points fund that they're going to have this season, but they were still paying $5,000 to win every show, and their car counts were pretty good. I want to say they were right around 24, 25, so full fields every night for the POWRi stuff, and I think that's only going to get better in 2025. So bring the graphic up now, and you know, these 12 guys are kind of all over the place. I don't know what any of these guys are going to be doing next season, honestly. I haven't heard any news other than the first one on the list in Cameron Key, who was just announced in the Beaver 12X. You know, we thought he was going to be in the McGarry 31 at Knoxville. Then the Beaver announcement came out, and it's looking like, you know, a 60 race schedule. That team is based right around Kansas City, and they're right smack in the middle of where this POWRi series is going to be taking place. Cameron Key, only about 15 410 starts last year, but they were pretty impressive. He picked up a win, and he was in that Beaver 12X for a high limit show. And for me personally, I think he ran really well in that Beaver 12X compared to some other guys that were in it. Ayrton Geniton, back-to-back POWRi champion. I don't see why he wouldn't run it again. He obviously is familiar with all of the tracks on the schedule, and he's very capable of winning races in his family number 3. Now, he did hop in the Hydebretter number 19 for a little bit during the season. Haven't heard plans if that pairing is going to continue. Not sure what's happening there. I have seen Geniton, post that he's getting his own stuff ready for the season. Jake Buback, he did win a POWRi show. I want to say it was the Hockett Memorial, and was ultimately disqualified for tire doping, and didn't really hear what happened after that. But I think Scott Boguski was awarded the win there, but needless to say, Jake Buback is familiar with the area. I think he's super underrated in terms of 410 drivers out there, and like I said, not sure what he's going to be doing, not sure the situation and the funding on the 27B, but Jake Buback, I think, good candidate to join this POWRi series. Joby Miller, again, Missouri guy, Missouri team, runs 40, 50 races a season, but he makes sense for this. I think if Joby Miller were to join on to this POWRi series, I think he's a legitimate contender to win the championship and a legitimate threat to win races each night. Bryce Lucius, he was on the wild card list for the All-Stars, because obviously Bryce is a guy, I believe he's Ohio based, and he did branch out the end of last season. He raced at Bridgeport to finish off the year in that STP Motorsports number 32. It sounds like that team is ramping up for a larger schedule. It sounds like they're excited about the POWRi stuff. It sounds like they're excited about the All-Star stuff. I could see this team doing a pick and choose probably, but it would not shock me at all to see Bryce Lucius on this POWRi tour. Sterling Kling, a traditional non-wing racer from right here in Arizona. He did a bunch of winged racing last year, kind of all over the place. He was running for the Maverick Series points there in Indiana, and I believe he ultimately won the championship. I hope he got paid, and I'm not sure what Sterling's plans are next year, but I think this POWRi series makes perfect sense. He's trying to get more laps under his belt in the winged car, and he had some good runs going here and there against some elite competition last year. So Sterling Kling, another guy who I think could perform well with the POWRi stuff. And the next two guys, Tim Essenson, Blake Hahn, they kind of run all over the place. Blake kind of sticks to Oklahoma and Texas, ventures into Missouri a little bit here and there. Runs some 360 stuff, runs some 410 stuff. Tim Essenson, I have him down here just because I believe, he has the means to make something like this work, despite being a South Dakota guy or a North Dakota guy. And, Essenson could easily, run Huset's locally and then run some IRA stuff up north, but I could also see him, coming down south a little bit and running this POWRi series. Jace Park, there was rumors that Jace Park was going to be, out of the Johnny Herrera Racing 45X, but I talked to this team a little bit at Vado for the 360 show to finish off the year, and it sounded like Jace Park was going to be returning to that ride. Jace Park, young driver. We saw him race with the Outlaws in high limit here and there. He was making some shows, and I do specifically remember one night against high limit, I believe, where Jace Park was making a nice impressive charge through the field. So I think with more laps, more time under his belt, that 45X and Jace Park could be, a team that's running up front, on the podium with this POWRi series. Reese Moran, Noah Gass, they're both, Oklahoma, Texas guys. Reese Moran, we saw him, run with high limit, run with the Outlaws when they were down south. And I believe he's a young driver, and you probably haven't heard much about him, but he did pick up an ASCS Elite Outlaw win last season, and I think he's got the talent, and I think if he does join this POWRi series, we could see a surprise Reese Moran victory at one of these tracks. So, and Noah Gass obviously has the means to do this. He's ran the Outlaws before. We kind of didn't really see Noah Gass at all last season. He announced that he was going to be, taking it easy, running a smaller pick and choose schedule, but I think that schedule ended up being a lot smaller than most of us thought. But he still managed to win, I think, 2 races last season, maybe more, maybe 3. And, if they're going to ramp it up and start racing a lot more again, then I think Noah Gass could join this series and do very well, probably win a few races. And then the last guy here, Xavier Doney, another young driver. I believe he's only 18 years old. That team in the 74, they have already announced that they're planning on running a pretty large pick and choose schedule. And I think I saw that before this POWRi announcement was made and before the All-Star announcement was made. So, maybe Xavier Doney and that team is thinking about joining this series full time, and I wouldn't be surprised. So, down here at the bottom on the wild cards, I think we know that Austin McCarl is going to be out on a pick and choose, maybe even on a national tour. John Carney in the Taco Casa 2J. Don't ask me how I know this, but John Carney was considering, running a huge schedule in 2025. Maybe even thinking about joining a tour if he get some more crew help. But I think something like the POWRi series is a good fit for John Carney if he wants to ramp up that operation. Schoenberg on here, like I touched on earlier, we just don't know what they're doing. Chase Randall, I think the rumors out there of where he's going to be racing next year, and it's probably going to be on a national tour. So if that doesn't happen, though, Chase Randall could be someone that comes in here and spoils the party. And then Scotty Milan, Kelby Watt, Joel Myers Jr., and then the hybridder 19, is Kevin Newton going to field a car for this series that he's now sponsoring? And I just included the Mark Daly 2MD because, that car's out there. We just don't know who's going to be driving it or where it's going to be racing. So, that's what I got for the POWRi series. Like I said, kind of all over the map. Not 100% sure what all 12 of these guys are going to be doing next year, but they're kind of guys that fit into this region, fit into the mold. And, if this is, say half of these guys end up joining the series, I think that's a pretty solid core. So that's all I got for you guys today. If you liked the video, please like it, please subscribe. Almost at 100 subscribers already. I kind of can't believe that. Thank you for the support, and I'll see you next week.